Hello, friends. It's the Carnivore Rabbi. A rabbi is a teacher and source of inspiration, and that's what this channel provides for carnivores of all faiths. Welcome. The hardest thing about the carnivore diet is not finding the foods to eat. Meat is pretty easily accessible, even if it's not cheap these days. It's not even nutritional knowledge. We know enough about what to eat and what not to eat. Rather, the real challenge is psychological. It's persistence. It's continuing to do what we know is right. It is overcoming the daily distractions, social pressure, the naysayers. This is especially true for people with families who are not carnivore. Or perhaps you work in an office environment where you're expected to eat at parties and things like that. In those kind of situations, the pressure can be enormous. Persisting in it is even harder if you've come to carnivore after a long life of eating carbs. The cravings can easily come back and creep up on you. It's a daily battle. So, what can you do to make it easier? What works to get us past the pressure, the cravings, the daily hardships? And before I tell you the answer, hit like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I've gotten a big influx of new subscribers lately, and I am so grateful. And this channel seeks to inspire and transform the world with the carnivore way of eating. This way of eating has changed so many lives, and with our help, it can continue to change many more. So the first thing to do to beat the daily distractions and setbacks is simple. Eat a lot of fatty meat. The biggest danger for carnivores, especially for newer ones, is undereating. Undereating. I made a video about this a few weeks ago. Fatty meat is so filling, and our body greets it with such joy that we can forget to eat. Seriously. I know this sounds preposterous to people coming from serial dieting, but it's true. And the harm from undereating is serious. It will trigger more cravings for carbs, and since we're not feeding our body enough if we're undereating, we'll consume the carbs and undermine any of the progress that we've had. So eat until you're comfortably full. Eat until the meat doesn't taste good. And if you feel a craving an hour or two later, eat more meat. Even the most long-term carnivores are in danger of undereating. The bear talks about this extensively. The bear is the most famous carnivore in history, essentially. He was carnivore for 50 years, and even he had problems when he would undereat. And this is why, by the way, fasting is not essential. It can work, it can help, but it's not essential. Because carnivore returns us to our natural satiety signals. But it takes time to get there. So when in doubt, especially in the early stages, eat more meat. Second, don't use the scale during the first few months. Now, this is not original. My friend, Old Guy Carnivore, says the first month, don't look at it at all. I would say even longer, because it takes some people a while to adjust to this way of eating. About 16 weeks has now become the gold standard for really seeing some progress. But even here, that's not always true. Now, this will be hard for some people not using the scale, especially if you're seeking to shed some pounds. The scale is such an easy metric. And if you're not losing weight, if you look at the scale and you see you're not losing weight, you might ask yourself, why are you going through all this major life change and not feeling like you're getting anything out of it? But you have to trust the process. Now, I kind of hate that phrase. I'm a nonconformist. I don't want to trust the process. But in this case, it's true. We can't instantly fix our diet and our body, especially if we have been following the standard American diet for years. Change takes time. Kelly Hogan gained weight during her first 6 months as a carnivore, and now, you watch her videos, she is in incredible shape. So to stay motivated, keep listening to the stories of transformation. I've got some under my live tab. Dave Mack, No Carb Life, has several great interviews. I really don't know anyone for whom the carnivore diet hasn't worked after several months. I'm sure they're out there, but not in my experience. Of course, some lose more weight than others, and some takes more time to really feel the effects of the carnivore way of eating than others. But it works because it is the species appropriate diet. I learned a great little shift of acronyms from John Barry, who I interviewed. SAD, S-A-D, often stands for Standard American Diet. But in our parlance, SAD can become Species Appropriate Diet. That's what carnivore is. It's the species appropriate diet. It's what we human beings are meant to eat. That doesn't mean we can't eat fruits and vegetables. Of course we can. It's evolutionarily advantageous to be able to eat different types of foods, but that doesn't mean it's the proper foods for us. Third practice to do. This is a bit of a Jedi mind trick. Remind yourself that you already are a carnivore. You already are. As we just said, it's a species appropriate diet. So when you're having trouble, picture the carnivore inside you. Imagine feeding that carnivore inside you. I know this kind of sounds woo-woo, but identity, who we are, who we identify as, often precedes action. There's an author named James Clear. He wrote the mega bestseller book, Atomic Habits. And the book is about the way our habits and our systems shape us. One of his main points is that identity shapes habits. If we change the way we see ourselves, we will be more likely to succeed in adopting the habits we want to adopt. Listen to this quote, which is one of my absolute favorite parts of the book. Listen carefully. It's not simple, but it's not easy, but it's simple. Quote, "There are 3 layers of behavior change. A change in your outcomes, a change in your processes, or a change in your identity." Processes, or outcomes, processes, identity. The first layer is changing your outcomes. This level is concerned with changing your results, losing weight, publishing a book, winning a championship, the concrete result. Most of the goals you set are associated with this level of change. That makes sense, right? It is the concrete external level of change. This is actually quite similar to what I talked about with Story a few weeks ago. The second layer is changing your process. This level is concerned with changing your habits and systems, implementing a new routine at the gym, decluttering your desk for a better workflow, developing a meditation practices, your process and your system. Most of the habits you build are associated with this level. That makes sense. The third and deepest layer is changing your identity. This level is concerned with changing your beliefs, your worldview, your self-image, your judgments about yourself and others. That's powerful. This is where carnivore fits in. It's a change in our self-image. Most of the beliefs, assumptions, and biases you hold are associated with this level. Outcomes are about what you get. Processes are about what you do. Identity is about what you believe and who you are. I want you to constantly remind yourself of who you are. You are a carnivore. In fact, the systems and the outcomes, level 2 and level 1, will fall into place if you maintain that identity. I am a carnivore. By the way, I have a set of affirmations, 31 of them, that I recorded and listened to during my first few months as a carnivore. They kept me on track. If you would like a copy of those affirmations, an MP3 file I can send you, just send me an email, Carnivore Rabbi, all one word, @gmail.com, and I'll happily send it to you. It's one of my favorite resources. I still listen to it. It is empowering and affirming. Fourth, very important, stay positive. James Clear again in Atomic Habits, quote, negative thoughts compound. The more you think of yourself as worthless, stupid, or ugly, the more you condition yourself to interpret life that way. You get trapped in a thought loop. The thought loop. You've got to stay positive to resist the social pressure and the haters. That's one of the reasons I make these videos. That's one of the reasons I watch lots of carnivore influencer videos. Why I love YouTube. Here you can come and reinforce your identity and your choices, and you'll get positive reinforcement. You can hear what you need to hear over and over again because the external world is telling you the opposite message. You're driving down the street and you see Dunkin' Donuts, Baskin Robbins, every single food that's bad for you put out at the grocery store. The world sends an opposite message, so we need to hear the right one over and over again. Fifth habit, fifth thing to do every day, celebrate progress. Success will come. You will feel better. The brain fog will lift. You will achieve the carnivore calm, the carnivore zen, and you will achieve your health goals if you stick with the carnivore way of eating. Just look at all the stories. There's too many, they're too authentic, and they're in fact too different. There are people from different stages of life, different experiences, have all succeeded with this way of eating. I know sometimes it sounds too good to be true. And people like me and other carnivores, we sound too optimistic. And I'm not a doctor. I can't promise any cure for anything. But judging from my own experience and the stories I've heard and looked people in the eye and listened to, carnivore lifts us up in too many ways to ignore. I believe God created us to be healthy and happy. And that's what happens when we return to the proper human diet.